Today I spoke something about Ramanujacharya. Ramanacharya. No? What's the speciality of Ramanacharya? What did I say? The Vijatiya-bheda philosophy, specialized in monism. Krishna Priyadu. Krishna Priyadu. Agar this you can put and this roll in the microphone works out. If you want, it's working. So there's a difference between the Brahma of the mayavadis, the monists, and the Brahma of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. There's a difference between those. Those two. Advaitavadis, the Brahma has no potency, no nirvikar, nirvishesh, niranjan. That Brahma which has no transformation, nirvikar, nirvishesh, he has no speciality, nirvishesh, he has no qualities, no adjectives. He has no kinds of, no any activities. The Gaudiya Vaishnavas Acharyas explain that whenever the Shastra calls Brahma Nirvikar Nirvishesh Niranjan, without potency, without speciality, or without transformation, that same Shastra also describes that Brahma has a form and speciality and everything in the same scriptures. So what do the Gaudiya Vaishnavas speak about Brahma? Brahma is sajatiya, sajatiya, Vijatiya-bheda Brahma. This word is a little bit from Vedantic, from the Vedanta, but you should know the meaning of them. Svagata, sajatiya, Vijatiya-bheda Brahma. Bheda means no difference. Brahma doesn't have these three differences. Svagata, sajatiya, Vijatiya. The main meaning of the word Brahma is Bhagavan. There's nothing equal to him. Don't speak of something being higher than him. Bhagavan is the topmost. There's no one equal to him. How can someone be higher than him? Parasa means the Shrutis, the Vedas, the Upanishads, they glorify a lot about this Brahma. How is his potency? Swabhaviki, spontaneous, natural, inherent. Can you translate this for 2 minutes? I'll be right back.
That Achintya Shaktis where Jiv from Jada Vichar cannot establish. That is called achintya. Achintya. By our mind, we cannot understand that. What are the symptoms of achintya? Inconceivable. What are the symptoms of achintya? By through logic, we cannot establish. It's very far away from the untranscendental things, from this material things. That's called achintya. Like Mahaprabhu is giving the example of mani mantra aushadi, medicine, mantri mantra, medicine. Leave about God. In this world also there is a Chinta Shakti. What is that Shakti? Mani mantra aushadi. Mani mantra aushadi is mani mantra medicine. Like we see about sparsh mani. That's called paras pathar, paras stone. That's called purse money. That touch stone, what does it does? That as soon as it touches iron, it makes that gold. But it itself doesn't get makes gold, but it makes other stones gold when the iron is touched with that stone. So that is called a Chinta Shakti. And the stone which has been made gold by the touchstone will never get paras stone. The stone which is gold cannot be paras stone, that touchstone. But it makes other stones. How is it possible? That is only called achintya. So the example of mani mantra is giving. After chanting the mantra, some action is seen. There is any power in that mantra. Through mantra mani, through mantra shaktis, people get siddhis. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj was writing somewhere once upon a time in Calcutta.
Great officer used to reside. High court. Nearby, there was a saint. The priest caught that saint and put him in the jail. But the police was arresting him, and again he would come back to the place where he was, and again standing up there. Standing there. Do you understand? Some saints, they show these mystic powers. They can manifest their body very small and very big also. Just it? Like Hanuman, for example. When Hanuman went to cross over Lanka, he went to the Lanka and he crossed the ocean. So there was a big demons. And she wanted to swallow Hanuman. Hanuman just entered inside her body and came out because he was very small. his body became very small. It's described. And also about Hanuman also, we also hear he manifested a very small form. Then he was able to enter Lanka and to search for Sita-devi, Hanuman. Also changing clothes, like changing disguise. And Ramayana explains, for example, when Rama and Lakshman, they were an expression from Sita and searching for her. They came near the Vishwamukh Parvat, this mountain. It was a very, like a lot of jungle there. So Hanuman came also in the form of a Brahmana, not in his own form. Have you seen? He wanted to test Ram and Lakshman. Hanuman wanted to test Ram and Lakshman. Then later on, Hanuman manifested his own form. So the Ramayana describes a lot, glorifies a lot about this. So what I want to say is that Mani Mantra Aushadi. Aushadi means many kinds of roots and roots of the tree. That if you use that root or if you take it somehow, you get also many kinds of like super mundane things. So many things have some quality. You cannot see the power of something. Like some plants have power, some special power. So even material things, they have so many qualities, so many things like this. What speak of Brahma, Bhagavan, God himself? There's no big deal about it. Even in Mani Mantra aushadi, mantras, jewels and plants, they have some mystic power and some inconceivable potency. What to speak of Brahma? So the main meaning of the word Brahma is Bhagavan. There's no one equal to him. What to speak of someone being higher than him? He has unlimited potencies. Jit Shakti, Jiva Shakti, Maya Shakti, Swarupa Shakti is the topmost potency. Samviti, Sandhini and Ladini. Bhagavan, through his Ladini potency, is relishing Anandaras and also enabling others to also relish Anandaras. So the main presiding deity of Anandaras is Srimati Radhika herself. The main presiding deity of Samvit Shakti is Krishna, and the presiding deity of Sandhini Shakti is Krishna Baladev Prabhu. So Sandhini, Samvit and Anandini. All these status are described and explained. Okay, so anyway, I was talking about the word Brahma for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. This Brahma is Svagata-bheda, Vijatiya-bheda Brahma. What did I say? Svagata-bheda, Sajatiya-bheda, Bheda means it doesn't have these three kinds of bhed, difference. Svagata-bheda, sajatiya-bheda, and Vijatiya-bheda. What is the mean? Svagata-bheda means difference between parts of his own body. So in God, Brahma, there's no difference between any part of his body. For example, Bhagavan, he can do anything with any part of his body. We can only hear with our ears. With the ears we can only hear. The jivas can only do one thing at a time with each of the limbs. only one function. But Bhagavan, he can do anything with any part of his body, anything. He can, of course, see with his eyes, but he can also walk with his eyes, eat with his eyes, you know. In the Brahma Samhita, this shloka explains, Angani yasa sakalendriya vrittamanti. God can do anything with any part of his body, but for the conditions of this is not possible. We can only see with our eyes. We cannot eat with our eyes. We cannot walk with our eyes also. But Bhagavan, any limb of his body, he can do anything. Why? Because all his limbs are aprakrita, transcendental, divine, dibba, aprakrita, transcendental. So this is called Swagat, like in his own body. There's no difference between any part of his body to another part of his body. Swagat-bheda rohit. Rohit means without. Bheda difference. Swagat means in his own body. Okay, now sajatiya-bheda rohit. He doesn't have sajatiya-bheda. He doesn't have a difference between he and his own incarnations. Sajatiya means him, he and his own kind. So if you think Ram is one Bhagavan, Vishnu is another Bhagavan, another God, this is an offense. Krishna is another Bhagavan. This is an aparad to think like this. All Vishnu Tattvas, Bhagavad Tattva, God and his expansions, they're one. There are like no difference between them. Because the same Krishna, he appears as Vishnu in Vaikuntha. And the same Krishna appears in Ayodhya as Ram. This Krishna, in Dwarkadesh, Mathura Desh, he also manifests there in Dwarka, Mathura, and Mathura also. And the same Krishna also, with 2 arms playing the flute, Shama Sundara, he manifests in Vrindavan. So there's no difference between he and himself. It means he and his other incarnations, forms of Lord. It's just a matter of rasa madhurya. To relish different rasa madhuryas and also to make the devotees relish different rasa madhuryas, he is manifested in many forms. So this is called Svagata-bheda rahit. Svagata-bheda rahit. Svagata means he and his own kinds, means the Vishnu Tattva. Bheda, difference, Rohit, without. So there's no difference between God and all his incarnations. Try to understand this very carefully. There's only one Bhagavan. But you can have his darshan as Ram, as Vishnu also. Or 2 arms playing the flute, Shama Sundara also. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sometimes gave his darshan to, like Vishnu, to some devotees. Also he gave darshan as being Vishnu and also sometimes as being Rasaraj Mahabhav together. Ramananda saw Mahaprabhu as Rasaraj Mahabhav Swarup. Sometimes some devotees saw Mahaprabhu as Radha Krishna. Bheda means there's no difference, it's only one. Only one Bhagavan is there, and he manifests in 4 forms. Only one Paramatattva, supreme absolute truth. So the Tattva, the supreme truth, is only one. And he has a spontaneous, inconceivable potency, inherent spontaneous potency, inconceivable potency. And because of this, he manifests in 4 forms. First form, Swayam-rupa, his own original form, Brajendrananda Shama Sundara, in Goloka Vrindavan. His his vaibhav, his expansions, manifestations, Narayana, etc. In Vaikuntha Yodhya. This is his second form. Third. No, sorry, no, he's continuing with the second. So Krishna himself appeared as Baladeva. There's no difference between Krishna and Baladeva. There's no difference between Krishna and Baladeva. Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan, so in the same way, Baladeva is also Bhagavan. Just the difference between the weapons they carry. Varna-bheda also means difference in the complexion of their bodies. Krishna holds the flute and Baladeva holds the hal, means the plow. Krishna wears peacock feather on his head and Baladeva, what does he wear on his head? So all the Vishnu tattvas, they are non different from each other. Okay, Vijatiya-bheda. Vijatiya-bheda, but there's no difference between him and one thing which is completely opposite of him. First, let's understand what is Vijatiya, something completely different from you, from something. Vijatiya, completely opposite. Something which is completely different from that substance. But even something which is completely different from God is also not different from him. What is different from God? Maya, the inert matter. For example, in this material world. So the opposite of light is darkness. Isn't it? First, in the spiritual realm, we can also see Krishna is like the sun. Maya is compared to the darkness. Krishna Surjasa. Krishna is like the sun, Maya and the car. Wherever Krishna is there, Maya doesn't have any eligibility. Maya cannot come close where Krishna is there. Maya doesn't come close to Krishna. Because Krishna is like the blazing sun. And Maya is like the darkness. But look, Maya came from where? Maya is the potency of Bhagavan. Maya Shakti. Remember, I told you, God has three potencies, very important. Chit Shakti, Jiva Shakti and Maya Shakti. Try to understand, then you understand. If you try to remember, then you'll remember, you understand. Even though this is a little bit complicated subject matter, if you try to a little bit understand, you'll be able to understand. Shastra wrote, there's no difference between Shakti and Shaktiman. Shakti, Shaktiman, Dayor-abheda. They are one. Potency and possessor of the potency are same. Because sometimes the potency is manifesting, sometimes not, but they are non-different. The potency can be murta, personified or expressed outside, but amurta can be inside the possessor of the potency. But always the potency is inside the possessor of the potency, but sometimes you can see or not. I'll give an example about you. Now you're looking so much sattvic bhavana, mode of goodness. But if I speak a little bit something to you, maybe you manifest a ferocious form, so much angry. So the krodha, the anger is inside you, but not showing now, but it is inside you. You have anger inside you. It was already inside you, but now was not manifesting. But if I say something that become angry, then now you are krodh, your anger is not manifesting, like it's not manifested, not expressed. But depending on the moment or depending on the circumstance, it comes out of you. So the jiva, the anger is only a mood, like some sentiment. The form of krodh is not coming. The form of shape of iron is not coming. Shape of anger is not coming for the jivas. But God has inconceivable potency. So Maya manifests the form, mayavadis. Like a potency of Lord is not only like sentiment or anything, manifests form, like Maya form. You know, Bhagavan gave darshan to Arjuna of Vishwarupa, universal form. Time personified and creation, maintenance, destruction, everything coming from God, the universal form. For us, anger is only a sentiment. For example, maybe your eyes become like very open and you start to shake. Your chastisement and moving your finger like this, your lips might be red. Like moving your hand when you're angry. Even you cry also. But your anger is not manifesting in a separate shape. But in Bhagavan, he manifests the form of Maya. Look. So by Maya, Bhagavan is creating the material world like Durga. She's the external potency. One thing is Antaranga Shakti, internal potency, and another Bahiranga Shakti. What is Bahiranga Shakti? Maya. By Maya, Bhagavan is creating this world, etc. Also deludes the living entities. This is called Durga. Nowadays people are worshipping Nava Durga or Devi Durga. Who is she? Durga. She is the personification of Maya. She's deluding the people in this jail of this material world. She's the jailer of this material world. She's Durga. You know, jailer. Who controls the jail? Everyone in the jail. She's Maya Durga. She is known by many names. She has 8 arms, Ashtabhuja. Maya-devi has 8 arms. And she's deluding the living entities. Sometimes she has 10 arms. Sometimes Durga has 10 arms. Sometimes 8. She's sitting on the lion. She's sitting on the lion? Lion. So this is Maya. But also another meaning of Maya is mercy. Maya also is known as mercy also. The jiva who wants to perform bhajan to God, then the same Maya manifests as Yoga Maya and brings this jiva towards Krishna. If you want to do bhajan of Bhagavan, the same Maya will appear to you as Yoga Maya. The same Maya will also appear as Mahamaya depending on the circumstance. For example, Vasudeva Maharaj, he brought Yoga Maya back to Mathura from Vrindavan, from Gokul, isn't it? Kamsa tried to kill that baby Yoga Maya. When the baby Yoga Maya came in the hand of Kamsa, it became Mahamaya. So he tried to kill her, and she went up in the sky. So this is the speciality of the Maya of God, potency. To one person it will manifest as Mahamaya, but to others it will manifest as Yogamaya. The other day I told, and she very strongly she kicked the head of Kamsa. That even Kamsa, which is so powerful, he fell on the ground. Kamsa is very fortunate actually. Why? Because she touched his head with her feet. Mahamaya or Yogamaya. So directly or indirectly we are seeing this. So it's not an ordinary to be touched by the feet of Maya. So she went up in the sky and told the foolish Kamsa, do you think you can kill me? Your killer Vishnu has already taken birth elsewhere. One Maya meaning, but manifesting in different forms. In the form of Yogamaya or Mahamaya form. Everything that Krishna performs is with Yogamaya. That's why in the shloka, first shloka of the Rasa Leela in the Bhagavatam is saying, Bhagavan So in Bhagavan, he desired to perform the Rasa Leela. And how he performed the Rasa Leela? Yogamaya Upasritam. With the help of his Yogamaya and potency, not Mahamaya. In Gita, Krishna says, I'm not manifesting everywhere. Yogamaya protects me. Bhagavan, he hides himself with his Yogamaya. Krishna says in the Gita, I don't manifest my form everywhere to everyone. I'm hiding with my Yogamaya. In front of the demons, for example, Bhagavan shows himself as a normal person, normal human being. Like, for example, Dushasana, they think that Krishna was a cowherd, a normal cowherd person. But like Bhishma Pitamaha and others, they saw Krishna in the form of Vishnu. They saw him. In front of the non-devotees, Bhagavan hides his own form. But in front of the devotees, Bhagavan manifests his form. So the demons, they look at God and they can see two things. What do they see? He's a normal human being, for example, they see. Like Duryodhana, he saw Krishna as a normal, ordinary cowherd boy, without any special, like nothing special, just an ordinary cowherd person. When Krishna came to try to avoid the war in Hastinapur, he came representing the Pandavas, and he wanted to avoid the war. He came to propose some reconciliation. Krishna just told, give 5 villages to the Pandavas. Duryodhana said, without war, I won't give even the piece of land that fits in the head of a needle. Then Bhagavan said, okay, what to do? Whatever. It will happen. Then after Duryodhana even told, arrest him! Arrest Krishna. Krishna thinks, you think you can arrest me? Okay. Then Krishna manifested a gigantic form. Duryodhana even couldn't see, he only saw light and light. He couldn't see the form of Vishnu because Krishna manifested the form of Vishnu at that time, gigantic form, but Duryodhana saw only light. Even like he was, how to say, like, offuscado. Blind, he was blinded by the light, then he shut his eyes, he couldn't see. So they could not see the form of Vishnu in 4 arms and everything. They saw only Jyoti, light, and became blinded, like their eyes were burning even because of so much light. But in that same assembly, Bhishma Pitamaha was also present. Bhishma Pitamaha, he saw the form of Bhagavan with 4 arms and performed like so many stutis to him, glorifications. So what I want to say is that the potency of Lord is always with him. But God hides himself with his Yoga Maya. He's not manifesting everywhere. Bhagavan is performing pastimes also with his Yoga Maya. And by the Mahamaya, the jivas are cheated or deluded. But Yoga Maya brings the jivas towards Krishna. The lion shows his prowess to whom? No, Bikram. Prowess? Like his influence, his power, his strength. To whom? To the enemy, the lion. But his love and affection, the lions show this to his babies. Baby lions. Very interesting. Look, the lion, if an enemy comes, then the lion shows his prowess, roaring. But for example, the lioness breastfeeds her babies, licks them, isn't it? Love and affection to the babies. Bhagavan is also like that. In front of the non-devotees, he manifests as like Mahamaya, the potency is like Mahamaya. And those who surrender to Lord, the devotees. So the potency is appearing to them like Yogamaya. So the non-devotees, they are kept under illusion. Mahamaya is keeping them under illusion. That's why Maya. No, Mahamaya. She's also a potency of Bhagavan. Yes or no? Yes. Vijatiya, she's completely different from him. Vijatiya means completely opposite, like light and darkness. And the same Bhagavan and his Maya, they are different things. God and his potency, material potency. But Maya is also a potency of Lord. So how they are known different? How can we establish that they are known different? Brahma and his approach completely opposite. Vijatiya is known different. So the scriptures give an example about this. Jata Urnavad, another example is also nails. Like the hair and the nails. Like for example, the hair, our hair, is a part of our body but also not a part. You know, the hair and the nails. Our hair and nails, even though they are limbs of our body, they are also not limbs of our body. This is inconceivable. For example, if we cut the nails like here, this white part, we will not feel any pain. It will bleed? No. But it's growing. The nail is growing still. Very astonishing. Even though it's a part of the body, it's not a part. So nails are growing. If you cut them, there is no pain. No bleed, no blood, nothing. This is inconceivable or not? Achintya. If the nail is in the body, but if you cut a little bit, if you cut outside, then like this white part, no pain. But if you cut like inside this like the red part, then you feel pain. Another example is given. The hair. Hair. Kesh, hair. We are having our hair cut. Or cutting our hair. Do you feel pain? Is it bleeding? Does it bleed? No. But still your hair is growing. Even though it's a limb of your body, it's also not a limb of your body. And also gives beauty to your body. Isn't it? Shobha beauty. Giving the beauty. It increases your beauty, your hair. If you become bald, You cannot even recognize, okay, my husband or what? So imagine if you shave your hair and go back to your house. Your husband will say, who came? Who is she? Can they recognize you if you shave your hair? And also, you'll be like strange. If you're strange, look like strange with your hair shaved, like, isn't it? So the more you decorate your hair, you become more beautiful. Women, the women, they have to give attention to their hair. Women. I forgot some Sanskrit shloka about this. In Kali Yuga, women and men, they give a lot of attention to their hair. All busy decorating their hair, like ornaments in the hair. You're not giving enough time to eat and drink as much as you give to decorate your hair. It means like you give more attention to decorate your hair than sometimes even eat. Like if you go somewhere, women take a lot of time to get ready. Again and again, dressing up, dressing the hair, this and that. That's why the Vaishnavas, they say, cut, shave everything. Just shave it off. Isn't it? Then quickly you can just wake up, have a shower, and that's it. If you have a shower or a bath, it takes a long time. Because long hair, need to put, shampoo, this and that, so many things. What do you put in the hair? What do you apply? It takes time or not? It takes time or not? Yes. Then you have to dry your hair. But for us, 2 minutes. Just put water and finish. Like 2 minutes to bathe. 2 minutes I take to bathe only. But those who have long hair. I know the hippies. What can I tell about them? They don't even take a bath. Because they have long hair. So the water enters inside the hair, then it's very hard to come out of the hair. The water is not coming out, so that's why they don't even bathe so much. They don't even wash their hair. So if they don't wash, then bad smell coming, stinky hair, stinky head. In some countries there's a rule. They are not even allowed to go on the bus, the hippies. They cannot go on the bus? No, because of this stinky, because their hair stinks and everybody has to come out of the bus because of the terrible smell. You can ask them in Brazil, it's also like this. She's saying, no, nowadays people like to have long nails also. Anyway, so anyway, even something which is different from God, completely opposite, is also known different from Him. So Vijatiya-bheda Brahma. Another example, for example, I gave nails and the hair, right? I give this example. Even though they are parts of the body, they are also not limbs of the body. One more example, Jata Urnava. Urnava means the spider. The spider. In Hindi, spider is makri. It's feminine gender. Yes, feminine gender in Hindi also. In Portuguese also. Makri. Spider. So she is making, its webs. This web is coming from its own saliva. So saliva is a part of the body of the spider, right? So from its own body, the spider is creating with the saliva the net, web, spider web. And then it's moving in the web, going here and there, going here, there, very quickly. You can look at how she's also, in 2 seconds, she's creating some big webs. 2 seconds. Very quickly. Making like this, like all this crossing webs, and then it's moving the web on the web. But maybe a fly or maybe insect will be stuck in the web, which is not. It's not. Then the spider comes and eats the animal, the insect. If it falls from the web, then she's again eating her own saliva, putting back inside and moving, going up to the web again. Very, very astonishing. So she's moving, eating her own saliva to go. So if it falls, the spider, she's holding also in the web, that's actually her own saliva, and then again she's eating back that saliva and moving up. Very interesting, very variety of living entities, no? Creation of God, so diverse. It's something astonishing or not? She's eating again, eating her saliva, putting again back in her body and going up. Have you seen this? And the saliva is staying inside the spider. This is inconceivable potency. In the same way, Swayam Bhagavan stays with Maya and also not. That's why in Gita Bhagavan told, everything is inside me, and the world, I am inside the world is inside me, but still I am separate from everything. I am inside the world is inside me, and still I am separate of everything. Because these material things, if only one example, you cannot completely understand these spiritual things. For example, the leaves of the lotus, even though they stay over the water, they are not touching the water. So in the same way, even though Maya is with Bhagavan, it does not touch him. Maya does not touch Bhagavan. And wherever Bhagavan is standing, Maya is standing very far from him. There's evidence in the Bhagavatam. Vasudeva, by the mercy of Narada, Rishi, he saw this it's a verse of the Bhagavatam, Bhakti Jogena Manasi Samyak. So the evidence is there. I give the evidence. This is Maya. Vasudeva saw the process of Bhakti Yoga. Vasudeva saw Param Purush, Bhagavan. He had the darshan of Bhagavan. He saw Param Purush Bhagavan, the Supreme Lord. He saw Bhagavan with his associates. Bhagavan is performing many pastimes in Goloka Vrindavan, performing beautiful pastimes. He saw all these pastimes. And also, what did he see? Maya and the Jivas also. And Maya, where was she standing? Very far, folding her hands, ashamed. Maya-devi was ashamed, bowing her head and folding her hands. Vilajamane. She was ashamed. Just like if you come to the king, the servants of the king, they are standing far from the king, folding their hands, like an offender. So in the same way, what did Vasudeva do? He saw that Maya-devi was far from Krishna, standing and so ashamed. If you say, why Mayadevi was ashamed? Because she's thinking, by the orders of Bhagavan, I am punishing his own jivas, I am punishing to whom? To the jivas. The jivas are actually very dear to Bhagavan. So Maya is ashamed because I am punishing the jivas which are so dear to Bhagavan. Why? Actually, Bhagavan himself ordered Maya to do that. Those jivas who are not doing my bhajan, you should punish them. Just like, I'll give an example. If your son is not studying properly, you love your son so much, don't you? So you have a teacher, like a private teacher, to help your son to study. And what does the teacher do? He's beating your son. Teacher is beating your son. The kid is not studying. But you are not beating your own son, but you have a teacher to beat him. The teacher also, you told the teacher, look, you should chastise my son, like discipline, beat him. Otherwise my son will not study. You gave the adhikar, means the prerogative, I think, good translation. Like you give him the right to do that, to beat your son. You gave him the prerogative or the adhikar, eligibility that, oh, look, if my son not study, you can slap him, you can pull his ears. So you're paying him to beat your son. This is the duty of the teachers. Look. But the teacher is thinking, oh, I'm beating his son, which is also dear to him. But actually, to beat the kid is to his own benefit of the kid. So he's getting money to beat the kid. So in the same way, Bhagavan, why did he create Maya? To purify the souls, the jivas. There's no other reason for the purification of the heart of the conditioned souls. To purify the heart of the conditioned souls. So Bhagavan is chastising the living entities through Maya. Look. And the same Maya is also the external potency Bahiranga Shakti of Lord. So Shakti, potency, Shakti, she's a Shakti. There's no difference between Shakti and Shakti Mom. She stays inside him. Like there's no difference between Maya and Lord because it's his potency. So Vijatiya-bheda. In the Gauriya Siddhanta, when you say Brahma, Brahma has two meanings. What? Brahma Shabde Mukarte Kohe Bhagavan. The main meaning of the word Brahma is, principal meaning, Swayam Bhagavan. Bring Hati, bring Hayati. He is great, he is making great to others, there is nothing equal to him, not to speak of higher than him. He is Brahma, very big God. Yet mayavadis, monists, they are saying Brahma is under the illusion of Maya. So this is completely wrong philosophy. Brahma can never be deluded by Maya. If Bhagavan would be deluded by Maya, so who is bigger? Like Maya would be bigger than God. So the Mayavadis, monists, they're saying Brahma is covered by Maya. So, but how is it possible? So Maya is bigger than Brahma. Who is bigger, Maya or Brahma? Because the bigger thing can cover the smaller things. The smaller things, they cannot cover the bigger things. So if Maya would cover Brahma, So who is bigger? Maya would be bigger than Brahma. But Shastra explains that Brahma comes from the verb root brihad, means there's no one equal to him or to speak of higher than him. He's the greatest of all. So how possible? So the philosophers of Shankara philosophers, the mayavadis, they say Maya covers Brahma, and then the Brahma calls himself Jiva. But actually Jiva does not exist. This is the philosophy of whom? Shankar philosophers. It means followers of Shankaracharya. Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya. Only one truth. Brahma, this world is false. Jiva and Brahma. Jiva is Brahma. But this is all false. So, partially there is a truth in it. Yes, they are saying Brahma is Satya. The only truth is Brahma. This is true. This is also true. Yes, what they are saying is true. So they start saying that Vijatiya-bheda Brahma is Satya. Brahma Satya. Only truth is Supreme God. So this is yes, truth. So when they say Jagat Mithya, this word is false. Then no. Okay, so the first part of their affirmation, Brahma Satya, God is the only truth. So this is true. But when they say Jagat Mithya, this world is false, then this is not true. Because God created this world. This world is not false. You are seeing this world. So the Gaudiya Vaishnavas say, it's not that it's a lie. This world is only temporary. Temporary truth. Tatkalik Satya. For some time, you are seeing this world. So this world is true until it's like existing. For example, trees, plants, are they false? You cannot call them false. They are just a temporary truth. She's my mother, father, sister, brother, family, husband, wife. It's not a lie. You cannot say it's a lie. But when the body changes, then it will not remain a truth any longer. For example, now I see my mom's body. So I accept she's my mother. But when my mom passes away, like her body will be burned. So then she'll not be not anymore. This is true. For example, or I also give up my body, then I will be born from another mother. So she'll not be my mother anymore. Another person will be my mother. In English, they say one thing: ex-wife. Ex-wife. So now she's not my wife anymore. She's my ex-wife. We've divorced. We had a divorce, no? We divorced. She's my ex-girlfriend, my ex-boyfriend. They use these kind of words. But can you say he's my ex-son? You tell me. He was my son, but now he's not anymore. You cannot use this kind of words. They say that. So any parent, mother, father would say, he was my son, but now he's not my son anymore. Does this exist? Does this happen? Do you understand what did I say? No mother, father would ever use this kind of words. Ex-son. Whatever you say. Okay, ex-girlfriend, you might say. Ex-husband. Because we've divorced. We've split up. So what is your relationship with him now after splitting? Okay. My ex-wife, ex-husband. For some time he was my husband or wife, but now not anymore. Then you married another time, again. Oh, now she's my wife, he's my husband. And that one, oh, he's my ex. But for a son, his mother, father would never say. Would they? No. Son is son, period. Daughter is daughter, and that's it. Cannot use the word ex. It's very interesting and very astonishing. What? Somebody can give me.
क्या गलना हो जाता है जो बच्चे से स्नेह नहीं करते.
कोई माता पिता चलो अपने पुत्र के जन्म दिया किसी ने उसके
दे दिया.
So, sorry, what was it?
जैसे उदाहरण दे रहे थे
I'll give an example. Dasharat Maharaj.
दशरथ महाराज की पुत्री थी
He had a daughter, Shanta.
संतान
Her name was Shanta.
किंतु उन्होंने
But he gave his daughter to Lompad, another person, another king. Dasharat Maharaj, he had 4 sons and 1 daughter also. But very few people know about his daughter. But it is in the scriptures, mentioned. Isn't it?
उसके नाम क्या था
Her name was Shanta.
और उनके साथ
And she,
केवल लोमपाद राजा के उन्होंने क्या थे
so she was given to the Lompad king.
संता के साथ विवाह करा किसके साथ
And Lompad king married her with the Rishi.
अरे वो ऋषि जो है
The Rishi, what is the name?
शादी करा ये बहुत सुंदर कथा है रामायण
This story is very beautiful from the Ramayana.
फिर दशरथ महाराज देखो अपने दामाद के लेकर
Then Dasharatha Maharaj came to his own son-in-law,
जब करा
means the wife, the husband of his daughter, and asked him to perform the first sacrifice for him.
तो वो कथा सुनाए सर दशरथ महाराज की मंत्री
The minister of Dasharatha Maharaj, Sumanta,
तो मेरा कहने की ये था
sorry, I didn't listen when he spoke about the minister. So anyway, I was telling this
माया
just to say that Maya, even though she's non-different from Lord, she's different. She's different and non-different, so this is inconceivable. Jiva Goswami gives this example.
ब्रह्म क्या है स्वगतो सजातीय विजातीय भेद रहित मां
Svagata-bheda, Vijatiya-bheda. Okay, Svagata and Svagata we understand easily. But Vijatiya-bheda, there's a difference between God and his opposite thing. This is very hard to understand.
विजातीय होकर के फिर भेद नहीं है अवैधता
So even though it's different, it's non-different. It's hard to understand.
जैसे अद्वैतवादी के ब्रह्म और वैष्णव गौड़ीय वैष्णव के ब्रह्म में
So the Brahma of the Advaitavadis and of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they are different, and this is the speciality between them.
और भी ब्रह्म के बारे में हम तो गोस्वामी
Rupa Goswami in Vidagdha-madhava Natakam describes even more about Brahma.
सुंदर ब्रह्म के बारे में
Such a beautiful way he describes about Brahma.
जिससे गोपियां उद्धव के पूछा
The gopis asked
ये
Uddhava,
उद्धव तुम कहाँ से आए
Uddhava, where have you come from?
मैं कृष्ण से
Oh, I just met Krishna. Okay, so tell us about Krishna.
अद्वितीय ब्रह्म
Krishna is Aditya Brahma. He is the only one Brahma, non-dual, without a second. Which Brahma? Then Uddhava's head started spinning. I only heard about one Brahma. They are asking which Brahma? So there are other Brahmas.
गोपियां पूछने लगी अरे
The gopis told, Uddhav, listen,
तुम इस शुष्क ब्रह्म से आया कि
he came from the dry Brahma or from the wet, juicy Brahma? Means Suska or Saras Brahma. Was Saras Brahma? I only thought like Rasagula.
विशेष ब्रह्म और
Like,
एक
anyway, so means Nirvishesha Brahma, without potency, without things, or
ब्रह्म और ऋषि कैसे हुए?
Rasik Brahma. How Brahma become Rasik?
उद्धव के सिर तो घूम गए
Brahma, Uddhava said he was spinning. I studied so many things, I heard about Brahma so many things. There's only one Brahma, Nirvishesh Brahma.
और गोपियां क्या
But
कर
the
रही
gopis are saying, telling about
रसिक ब्रह्म
Rasik Brahma.
रसिक होता है
Brahma is Rasik? What is this?
एक निर्विशेष ब्रह्म और
So
एक
Nirvishesh Brahma and Savishesh Brahma.
और गोपियां क्या कर
But the
रही
gopis are talking about
रसिक ब्रह्म
Rasik Brahma.
नितल माधव नाटक
In the book Bheda-abheda Natakam, there are beautiful shlokas about this. If you read it, you feel happiness. You feel happiness, ananda, because it's talking about Rasika Brahma. When I speak about this, some people say, where did you take this from? You can see in the Bheda-abheda Natakam. You are also reading the book, but you're not giving attention. But it's written. The gopis are saying, Rasika Brahma. So this is Rasika Brahma, Krishna. Also in the commentary of the Bhagavatam is also there mentioned. Uddhava came to Vraj and the gopis asked, if you will only be able to answer our questions if you have associated with the Rasika Brahma Krishna. If you associated with Nirvishesha, not the Rasika Brahma, will not be able to give answer. Uddhava couldn't associate with the Rasika Brahma Krishna. That's why he couldn't give answer to the gopis. Gopis asked Uddhava about prema. Uddhava couldn't answer those questions. There's only one Bhagavan that's manifesting his different forms to different devotees. So he's one person only, God, Krishna. But in front of different persons, he manifests different moods. For example, you have only one son. Now, your son got married. Has your son gotten married? Okay. So, your son got married. So, this same son manifests one different mood in front of his own parents. But another mood in front of his wife, in front of his own daughter, he manifests another mood. Look how it is. But your son is only one person. Your son is only one. And depending on which kind of relationship he has with the people, he will behave differently and manifest different moods accordingly. Don't even need to speak. According to the bhav, you can understand the relationship. The way you speak, the way you laugh, the way you behave, the way you look at the person. By this, everybody understands what is the relationship people have. People are not foolish. Everyone is pandit, very clever. The way you speak to the person, how you behave with that person, by this, everyone understands. Everybody understands what is going on. Don't even need to speak. What is the relationship with this person? Is she your wife or not? You don't need to speak about it. Your activities, everything people just see and understand. She's your daughter. Even if you don't speak about it, your external activities show which kind of relationship you have with that person. Is this true or not? By your behavior. I'm giving material examples. Do you understand? Huh? Oh. I thought I would speak quickly, but I couldn't speak. So one thing is Rasik Brahma, another Sushka Brahma. Sushka, you understand, dry.